work in progress, but you can say of the issues that our Pan-African fathers met to discuss in 1963, finally, over 50 years later, we are able to accomplish the first one, which is being an...
Let's talk about reparations and what's happening right now with reparations. So you're probably going to start seeing a lot more videos on this topic, but I wanted to address it myself because I thought it was very important. I do think the reparations that are, first off, I want to say that if you didn't know, California's getting reparations. Black people, of course. Do I believe that everyone's going to get reparations in every state? I do. I 100% believe that everyone's going to get reparations. This is not going to stop in just California alone. This has to go throughout the world, especially the United States. It needs to touch the United States. It's going to touch the United States first. This was biblical. This had to happen. There's going to be a lot of haters out there that talk about this like, reparations, why do they need? Just work for it, blah, 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 blah. Be quiet. We're not talking to you. We know how ignorant you are. We're going to say that this needs to happen on many levels, not just for free money or anything like that, to make peace with what you owe us. Let's talk about this biblical for a second. Biblically speaking, for a second. If you guys are aware, there is a verse in the Bible
that's going to the world as one custom.
There's a verse in the Bible. No, there's a section in the Bible where God is talking to, again, I'm not looking at my Bible right now, so excuse me, but I'm going to try to, I remember this. There's a verse in the Bible where God is talking to Abram. If you don't know who that is, that's Abraham. Okay. So God's talking to Abraham and he tells Abraham, your people, and this was funny about this because it actually explains a lot, not just about the reparations, but about who are the people of Abraham. And I'll explain right now. God says, Abraham, your people will sojourn in the land for 400 years. After that 400 years, I will judge that nation that did that to them. Basically, again, this is not, I'm not reading the Bible, so I'm speaking from my memory. He's going to judge that nation who did that to him, who enslaved Abraham's people. And then he says something very funny, not funny, but what stood out to me. You will, did that to him. Oh, and then they will have great substance. I think this is Genesis 13:14 or 14:13 or chapter 14, verse 13 or something like that, around there. Just Google it. So he says, your people will have great substance, which is funny. And this is why it's funny. There's this new thing going on with Hebrews talking about that black people, especially ones in the United States, are Hebrew Israelites. Coming to find out, there's a lot of truth behind that. I've been hearing that blown on the corners from dudes, these Israelites, for years. I'm from Los Angeles, and I've been hearing that for a long time. But the way this society will have you, whatever, it'll make you miss that point and make you think of yourself as just a descendant of slaves. Anything else, the U.S. won't tell you too much about yourself. If you look on Ancestry.com or the U.S., it just talks about slavery and the buck stops there. That's it. You only talk about slavery. Don't go no further than slavery. That's it. You niggas are just slaves. It goes way farther than that. So anyways, I'll go back to that in a second. So God is talking to Abraham, right? Abram. And he says, Abraham, your descendants will sojourn. That's what he says. Sojourn in the land for 400 years. And after that 400 years, I will judge that nation that did that to you. And then your people will come out with great substance after that. Let's go back to what those Hebrew Israelites talking about, us being the descendants, Hebrews, descendants of Abraham and Shem. Interesting. What was funny about that is in 1619, when slaves first came to the U.S., I did some research. I don't take nothing for for face value, so I want to actually check it out because I'm weird like that. So in 1619, when the first slaves got here, I think there was 20 odd slaves. We got here in late 1619, late in the year, from what I understand. I couldn't pinpoint a month, but reading through different books, I kind of found it was kind of later on the year. 400 years from 1619 is 2019. What happened in 2019? Most of you guys out there know what happened in 2019 because we're just getting out of it. The germ, we're going to call it the germ. The germ happened in 2019. Happened in late 2019. It was reported in 2020, early 2020, that the germ was here, but in reality, there are reports that people were getting sick in 2019. The same time God said he would judge the nation that did that to him. Who had the most deaths during the germ? If you didn't know, America. You can Google that. You can Google that all day. Who at the least, who was one country, or if I say, I can't tell you that. Well, whatever. What was one continent, and you already know now I'm talking about Africa, but one continent that had the lesser of the deaths, and that was Africa. Now, scientists are still baffled at the fact that Africa had so less of deaths within that continent, especially on the West of Africa, like only hundreds died or something like that. And they weren't even sure those were actually from the germ. They weren't even sure. They don't even know. Scientists are baffled at what happened. If you look up scientists baffled at what happened in Africa, you'll find it all over the place, or a couple places. But scientists don't know what happened to Africa and why they just made it out unscathed. But civilized or established civilizations like the U.S. went through so many problems, and we lost over 1 million people during that germ. No one can figure it out. I can figure it out. This is in the Bible. This is biblical. What's happening with the United States is being judged for taking our ancestors, my ancestors, our people, and hemming us up, chasing us down the street, shooting at us, pumping 60 bullets in our backs for running because that young kid was scared for his life. He had a pack of wolves after him. You guys used to throw our babies to alligators. You guys used to hang us. You guys used to break our backs with rocks. You guys would hang us and cut off our testicles, cut us open and let them bleed out. You guys would make up stuff to get us arrested and in prison and put in jail for a long time. You guys would hang us all over the place. Probably already said that. You guys would cut off our hands and fingers and limbs. You guys would beat us. You guys would whip us until our backs fell out. For hundreds of years, we had to go through that, and we're still going through it in a different form now. Slavery still exists. It just exists in a different way. You guys smarten up and understand there has to be laws behind it, so now you guys put us in jail. There's men in jail for 30, 40 years for carrying some weed. That's legal now. But a white person do that same thing and will be out of jail sometimes the same night and wouldn't even go to jail. Just a good old howdy do, go home and make it home safely and don't do it again. Let's talk about this further. God is talking to Abraham and says, your people was sojourning in the land for 400 years. And we worked that out from 1619 to 2019. We're still sojourning in a land that isn't ours. It's ours now. Well, we weren't from here. We didn't even speak the language. We came here and spoke Hebrew. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, I'll get into that in another video. But our actual language is Hebrew. All this stuff didn't make sense to me until I actually did some genealogy tests, and I can hopefully show you guys one of these times, but I'll just tell you right now so I don't drag out this thing. I'm actually very long-winded. I got to stop. Funny enough, after that, that judging of the nations, he quickly says that your people will after that have great substance. What does great substance mean? I would think that means repayment for that nation, what that nation did to us. No matter what you say out there, man, you don't deserve, they're just trying to freeload, blah, 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 blah. The Indians got reparations. Jews got reparations. The Asians got reparations. It seems like the only people that were left out of who needed the reparationism was us. Interesting, huh? In the Bible, again, he says your people believe with great substance. That great substance is reparations. This is biblical. 100%. This whole thing that's going on with the racism and the Canaanites not liking us. Wait, you don't even know what I'm talking about there, do you? Oh, that's a whole nother video. Canaanites, Amorites. Last verse of that God said to Abraham right there reminds me of something. He said that your people will leave with great, will then have with great substance, and they will go to thy fathers in peace. There you go. He said your people will then have great substance, and they will go to thy fathers in peace. Meaning that they're going to get substance now. They're going to live a decent life. They're finally going to be out that rut, that curse that I put them in a long time ago. But then he says something very interesting. He says, but hold on. I don't know the time he said, but the Amorites have not filled, something about they haven't filled their thirst for blood, or they haven't filled their vengeance. The Amorites have not filled their vengeance, and they will come back. Well, let's talk about the Amorites real fast. So the Amorites are actually the Canaanites. It's the ites, all right? So if you go in the Bible and look for the Canaanites, they're from a land called Canaan. Now, they are supposed to be from the lineage of Ham, okay? And Ham would say, oh, they're the dark races. Well, keep in mind that everyone came from the dark races. Even the Caucasians, even the Asians, Latinos, they all came from the dark races. It's a scientific fact that no one can come from another color, cannot come from anybody else but black people. And if you think I'm lying on that, again, you can Google that one. But that is a scientific fact that black people are the only race that can create other races. We can have white babies. It's a gene defect. A white person cannot have a black baby. An Asian cannot have a black baby. A Latino cannot have a black baby. Unless they're with a black person. Unless all you guys were black people, of course. But just 2 and 2 together? No, it can't happen. But a black person can have a black baby. And by that, I'm sorry, black can have a white baby. And that white baby mixing with another black person can create a brown baby. They sort of look like Indians or maybe Latinos. And then if you go to, we have different types of us. You know, I know everyone thinks we all look the same, but that's not true. But if you go to the Sand people in actually Africa, which are the first people scientifically proven on this earth, they have the oldest DNA. A lot of them look Asian because God gave us the instruments to create everybody. Look up the Khoi Sand people in Africa and look at them. And they are supposedly the first people on this planet. And if they are the first people on this planet, I wonder where Adam and Eve was. Maybe that's for another video. But what you're seeing in front of you with these reparations are going to happen. Will they stop at California? I highly doubt it. So I'm going to read the future for you guys right now. We're going to get reparations. How much they are, I don't know. I'm hearing a couple 100,000, but to be quite honest, that's not a lot. Some of my people might get excited about that, but in reality, it's not. Think about how that could be misused for one, which we're going to try our best not to do that. We're going to put things in place. If the government doesn't do it, we need to do it as a people, put things in place so we don't go broke. A lot of us over this time, over hundreds of years, have been left out of the wealth gap, left out of the knowledge of what to do with money, because a lot of us never had it. So when you've been in this destitute of a place for so long, marginalized as a certain people for so long, beaten, battered, and destroyed and broken down. Every time that we created something, it was broken down, chased and hunted, and made to think that you are just a worthless descendant of a slave. That can take a toll on you. And you start to think like that. So you start to get into your hustle mentality because you got to make it. Everything's mine. Everything, you don't want to share everything because you don't know how to share anything, because in reality, you're so messed up. If they think you're dogs, you might as well be a dog. This is terrible, what has happened to people that look like me. And when they do get that money, some of them aren't going to know how to act with that. So we do need to educate. The ones that have had money before, that have been out here living above society and trying to make it happen, still get treated like dogs. Don't get me wrong. Still get treated like dogs. Still go through the same thing. You're just taking it, man, and just trying to do the best that you can. Trying to break the generational curse that your family has gone through of being broke and just everything. You might have a little bit of knowledge on what to do with that money, but not a lot. Now, you can spread it. You can do your best to spread it, but a lot of us just won't pick it up because you're so used to walking left for so long. It's just hard. Anyways, that's something I'm going through my mind. But the couple 100,000 wouldn't be enough. I don't think there is enough money to give each black person that would make up for what they've gone through and their parents have gone through and their grandparents and their parents before then and their parents before then and their parents before then. This has been ongoing for a long time. You can't say, oh, here's 250,000. Shut up. Come on, man. What is that? That's not even to buy somebody a house in California. Come on. You want to break this rotation? Put these people in houses. You want to break this? Give these people some real money. Show them how to save it. Show them how to invest in things. And let me assure you, if you're watching this and this is after the time where you get that money, don't listen to these governmental things that are trying to get you to give them your money, because now you're just giving them back the money. If you're going to keep the money in rotation, keep the money in rotation in our people. If somebody else can help you without taking from you. Now, I know some of our people can be a little, I get it. That whole Black Lives Matter thing, taking the money, no one saw anything happen, upset me too. But not everybody's like that. Let me guarantee you right now. Not everybody's looking for a come up. There are real ones out there that want to help us, that want to see this from 100 years from now, our dollar rotating. It can be in America. I don't care. Because God's going to handle America. Don't worry about the racism in America. You don't have to leave. Stay here. Because God is going to handle this. Yeshua's going to handle this. All this ignorant stuff that's going on every time you walk into a store, everyone looking at you, being weird, calling you niggers behind your voice, just being stupid, being ignorant. Don't worry about them. God is going to handle them. What does God say in the Bible, man? The road to heaven is very narrow, but the gap to hell is wide, and let them fall in. Doesn't matter. Don't worry about them. You do you. You let God handle them. That death will sit on their souls forever. But that, whatever. Let black people circulate their own money, their own dollar. Of course, the companies need to be vetted for sure. Okay. Needs to be a lot of research done. I'm just talking right now, but I'll put something together and hopefully put it out there and see what we think about it. But yeah, man. I hope it is something that can change each individual's lives and not just for a temporary amount. We're talking about we need this for generations. This is going to take a long time to break what has happened to black people in America, especially in California, anywhere else, all over America. This is going to take years to break this gap, this divide on knowledge, on wealth, on everything. We've been destitute out here. We are hunted out here, man. It is not right. We've been talking about reparations for a long time, and every time we do it, somebody on the right or any other party comes back. Like I said, you're only doing that because you don't like us. The Indians got reparations. The Jews got reparations far behind us. Far before us. The Asians got reparations. And it was cool. But now the blacks get reparations, or on the tip of getting reparations. And there's hell. There's snarls. Because how you feel is biblical. And when I was speaking of the Amorites and Canaanites, that happens to be a certain demographic in America. And that's a whole nother video, and I'll go into that another time. But just to let you know, you guys are the Canaanites from the Caucasus Mountains. Long story, but I'll get into it one day. Anyways, we're gonna go to our families in peace. Our fathers, our forefathers, our slave fathers, and, our grandparents that passed away. God rest their souls, especially mine. But don't think the Amorites aren't going to come back and stir some stuff up, because it specifically says in the Bible that they will not have their fill of just being haters, just angry people, just don't like to see anything black succeed. And they will come back and they will be very upset with that and give us some kind of problem, but then it will subside again from what the Bible says. So maybe I'll have my scripture ready next time so I can actually say the verses. Sorry about that. Anyways, I'm YXXVI. They call me VI for short. Nice to see you. God bless you. Happy Sunday. Sorry I was a little angry a minute ago. I get a little weird about my people. All right, take care of yourself. This is how I feel. That's it. We're getting reparations, and I guarantee you all of the United States is getting reparations. Mark my word, I said this. If it happens, come to this video and drop a like for me, because I was right. See you later. Peace.